Hello, everyone. Welcome to our debate. We are going to be discussing the topic of gift giving. I'm going to be the introducer. My name is Riley. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Our summarizer will be Taylor Witt. She's also from Indianapolis. She is going to delve into the topic of gift giving and share information needed to fully understand the basis of the debate going forward. Our illustrator is Stephanie from Valparaiso. Stephanie will be providing information regarding pros and cons of gift giving through visual aids such as charts and graphs throughout the presentation. The researchers are both myself and Stephanie. Stephanie and I will be reporting on research studies that prove to be relevant to gift giving in the field of ABA. The fielder for both sides will be Haley Clark from Indianapolis as well. Haley will be facilitating a Q&A section at the end of the presentation. This portion of the debate will allow the group members to provide any further information that is needed to encompass the full depth of our topic. So first I'm going to start off with an operational definition of gift giving, which states to provide something voluntarily in an act of goodwill without receiving payment in return. So an example of this could be a parent giving concert tickets to a therapist as a thank you for all of their hard work. And a non-example would be a parent giving a therapist a t-shirt that therapist has paid for to help with a fundraiser, for example. The pro side for this debate is that as practitioners, we should be able to receive gifts from clients and other involved parties. By not doing so, we could potentially create a divide between our clients and ourselves and in turn negatively affect the integrity of treatment. The con side is that we as practitioners should always abide by the ethical guidelines of the BACB and not accept gifts from parents or clients. Gift giving specifically goes against the BACB Professional and Ethical Compliance Code 1.06. This code states that behavior analysts do not accept any gifts from or give any gifts to clients because this constitutes a multiple relationship. Next, we're going to go to Taylor, and she is going to give us more information.
Thanks, Riley. As Riley said before, gift giving goes against the BACB Professional and Ethical Compliance Code and leaves the potential for developing a dual relationship. Therefore, gift giving and receiving should be avoided. It has been universally agreed upon by the members of our debate group that gift giving and receiving should be responded to ethically and within compliance of the ethical code. However, both sides of this debate will be presented and analyzed. Gift giving and receiving is not only a violation of the compliance code, but also opens the door for dual relationships between the practitioner and the client. A dual relationship is considered as having a second significantly different relationship than that of the original provider-client relationship that is first established. Dual relationships present ethical considerations, one of which being that they have the potential to hinder the therapeutic services provided by the practitioner. According to a review conducted by Kegel and Geibelhausen, dual relationships involve boundary violations. They cross the line between the therapeutic relationship and a second relationship, undermining the distinctive nature of the therapeutic relationship, blurring the roles of the practitioner and client, and permitting the abuse of power. It is the responsibility of the practitioner to provide a safe environment free from exploitation or potential harm to the client. This includes refraining from engaging in dual relationships. It is also important to note that once a dual relationship is established, it is often a difficult and complex process of returning to a strictly therapeutic relationship. Next, I will be summarizing the pro side of this debate, which states that we as practitioners should be allowed to accept gifts from clients because in not doing so, we are potentially creating a divide between us and the client and negatively affecting the integrity of our treatment. In general, practitioners should consider the repercussions of declining a gift. For instance, in many cultures, it's considered rude to decline gifts from individuals within culturally diverse populations. Many cultures view gift giving as a sign of gratitude and respect for the services being provided. In any circumstance, failure to accept a gift may result in feelings of rejection or embarrassment on the part of the client, creating potential damage to the therapeutic relationship. In order to eliminate the possibility of forming dual relationships through gift giving and receiving, practitioners should establish clear boundaries on the subject before services begin. Neglecting to do so may result in uncomfortable interactions between practitioner and client, should this ethical dilemma arise.
Next, we are going to move on to Stephanie, who will be showing some illustrations of both the pro and con sides of our debate.
All right, thank you. So this ethical dilemma is very important to our class and anyone in the field of behavior analysis. On a daily basis, we may have to potentially deal with issues like this, especially multiple relationships. When a client or client's caregiver shows up to a session or after a session with a gift, it can become unethical if we accept these gifts. From the other side, like Taylor stated, if we don't accept these gifts, it can create a divide with our clients, especially depending on their culture. So I'm going to pull up 3 tables that an article analyzed. So this was from the article, Behavior Analysis Accept Gifts During Practice. So now what? And this is table 2, which shows acceptance frequency and type. And it shows that 43 answered that, yes, I have accepted gifts of no monetary value from clients. And no monetary value from this means that it was free from the client. It was like a picture or a thank you note. And then it says that 23 behavior analysis said they accepted gifts of small monetary value, which could be a gift card, chocolates, and 7 said that they did accept gifts of monetary value, which could be items such as a gift basket or jewelry. And no therapist said that they have accepted gifts of high value. And then I'm going to move on to table 3, which shows that some clients from the articles that the participants work with, it would be considered rude or offensive to not accept a gift. And this is where gray areas exist in this specific context. Look at table 4. Table 4 looks at vacations, meals, and beverages. From this table, it looks like it was more likely that a behavior analysis accepted a beverage such as coffee or water over accompanying a client on a vacation. So results from the study overall indicated that although clients rarely gave gifts, all the participants had accepted gifts. And then now I'm going to show a video on the pro side of gift giving in a workplace situation and how that can go wrong. And then I'm going to show a video on the con side of gift giving given by Dr. John Bailey. So the first one right here. Okay. So, I don't know. Did you guys not hear that?
No.
No. Okay. Not sure what we should do.
um, could anybody hear it?
No.
I wonder if, since you started the call, if you can
Maybe.
just hear it. Maybe we can't, but when we play it back, we'll be able to.
Yeah, I can check that. Yeah. So maybe just move on for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will we, I mean, do we have a way to like go back and edit it?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I might be able to like download something like some sort of app, like video editing app or something. You know what I mean? Like if you could send video, then maybe I could like take this part out or something. I don't know. I'm not super tech savvy, but
yeah.
I guess if all else fails, we'll just record it, and if we need to re-record it, we have a little bit time to do it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we have over a week still, so, right?
Yeah. The 5th. No stress.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so now we're going to move on. Stephanie's going to be talking to us again about some research that supports our debate.
All right. So one article is titled Dual Relationships and Professional Boundaries, and this discusses the potentially harmful effects of dual relationships. This article discusses the legal implications that sexual dual relationships can pose and the harmful effects it can have on clients and therapists. It also looks at non-sexual dual relationships as being exploitative and harmful if the relationships go unchecked. And although the article discusses multiple relationships, it does not directly reference the ABA Ethics Code, but rather the NASW Code of Ethics, which is the Social Workers Code. This code states that social workers should not condone or engage in any dual or multiple relationships with clients or former clients in which there is a risk of exploitation or potential harm to the client. So although the ABA Ethics Code is not directly quoted, the similarities in the codes regards to dual relations make this article relevant. Another article used in our debate is titled, Here's a Little Something for You, and in it 12 therapists were asked to discuss the times they had been giving gifts over the course of their professional career. The study found that all 12 therapists had received gifts from their clients at one point or another. The gifts given were either problematic or non-problematic, and the therapists held that gift giving is a normal part of human experience, but should be monetized in the therapist setting. Results and conclusions stated that gift giving in therapy is inevitable and topic is highly debated in the field. The study found that many therapists believe gift giving should be used per client as a way to integrate social and emotional skills into the therapy process. Limitations of the study include a lack of cultural diversity, as only white female clients are involved in the gift giving. There is a possibility that racial and cultural values can have an effect on gift giving and the therapist. A third article used in our debate is titled Behavior Analysis Accept Gifts During Practice. So now what? This study had 60 behavior analysis from around the world answer survey questions about gift giving practices and their personal views on the topic. The data showed that most of the behavior analysis accepted gifts as part of their practice. Surveys answered showed that practitioners found that refusing small monetary value gifts would be damaging to the therapy process as a whole. The justification for accepting gifts was that it was usually tied to a cultural value, but at the same time, 77% stated that accepting gifts would change their relationship with a client or family.
Further on research is an article titled Dual Relationships in Psychotherapy. This research looked into the gender dynamic of sexual dual relationships. The review found that both sexual and non-sexual dual relationships, the therapist is predominantly male while the victim is predominantly female. Justification for dual relationships is usually that the therapist had to engage in the unethical practice in order to promote therapeutic growth. Another justification that will be mentioned in another article is that gift giving or bartering is an integral part of certain cultures, and to deny that would be insensitive. Another problem that this article raises is that in smaller communities, it can be difficult for professionals to be completely free of dual relationships due to the overlap in home, business, and community life. The final article, titled Substance Abuse Counselors in Recovery, Implications for the Ethical Issues of Dual Relationships, looks at the current ethical code and the limitations it has. In order to assess the current ethical code, the researchers studied substance abuse counselors who themselves are in recovery. The study found that the current ethical code did not cover specific incidents that would lead the counselors to be in an ethical gray area. The code also presents possible conflicts between the values of the professional and the responsibility to abide by the code. Finally, the study found that the code doesn't adapt to current or ongoing issues in the field and limits those who have to abide by it. Now we're going to transition to Haley, who is the fielder of our debate.
Thanks, Riley. So the following are some questions that we came up with in regards to common questions about gift giving and receiving as a BCBA and answers to those questions. So the first one is, what are some ways you can communicate to clients or their families that you cannot accept gifts while trying to avoid an uncomfortable situation? For example, a mother of a client attempts to give you, the BCBA, a gift during Christmas time, which is something that she does for everyone in her life that provides a service to her or her family. In this situation, when you know a holiday is coming up that involves the giving and receiving of gifts such as Christmas, you can be proactive and send out an email to every client or family of clients to remind them of the BACB standards against gift giving so that there is no gray area and everyone knows the expectations. You could even offer an alternative. If someone would really like to show their appreciation, they could leave feedback or a nice comment. If a client or a family member does still attempt to give you a gift, you can politely decline by using a statement such as, "Thank you so much for the kind gesture. Unfortunately, my ethical code does not allow the accepting of gifts, but the thoughtfulness of your gesture is more than enough." A second question is, how do you know when something is considered a gift? For example, if you are working in home with a client and their parent offers you a glass of water, is this considered a gift? What about leftovers from a homemade meal they made that night? Sometimes knowing what is considered a gift can be difficult, but a good rule of thumb is to think of a gift as anything that is of monetary value. In the case of a glass of water, this is something that is considered a basic human need and therefore most of the time would not be considered a gift unless given in another context such as, "Hey, I saw this really neat bottle of water at TJ Maxx that made me think of you, so I bought one for you." Different places of employment will have various opinions on what is considered a gift. Some places will say that if a client or family provides food for you, that's okay, but some places will say that's an absolute no-no. Because there is some debate on what can be considered a gift, it is just safe to consider anything other than anything not of monetary value, such as like a card or a picture, a potential gift. Another question is, how can you refuse a gift from a client without offending them and making them feel rejected? For example, in some cultures, it's customary to offer refreshments while someone is in your home. It cannot be considered offensive if you don't accept. Also, sometimes clients with depression or suicidal thoughts can easily feel rejected in these types of situations. So the best policy, like I said before, is to be proactive and ensure that all your clients and their families know the rules when it comes to gift giving and receiving. This can be accomplished by including this policy in the contract your client signs, as well as putting it in a need-to-know section of a welcome packet during the intake process. As mentioned earlier, you can even send out email reminders when appropriate to reiterate the policy. If the situation arises where you have to refuse a gift, always start with thanking them for their kindness and then explaining the ethical code that we must follow. When working at home, being prepared is another good thing you can do. You can bring your own beverage or snacks, and that can be helpful when a client offers refreshments. You can just say thank you, but I brought something for myself today. And if all of these strategies fail, you are in a situation where it's culturally appropriate to accept a gift, such as maybe flowers from a garden or food item. First, just take into consideration the cultural practices and contemplate if refusing the gift would be considered disrespectful or seen as an act of discrimination. A fourth question is, how can BCBAs prevent difficult situations from arising in relation to gift giving? Like I mentioned earlier, proactive strategies are the most effective strategies, and communicating is the best thing you can do. If you realize you've accepted a gift, how do you go about dealing with it? Do you give it back? Do you keep it? In this situation, you must first think about what type of gift it was that you received. If it was something edible, then obviously it's not possible to give it back. However, you can communicate with the client or family and just let them know, hey, I really appreciated that meal you shared with me the other day, but to avoid violating any of my ethical standards, in the future, I will have to regrettably pass on your delicious food. If you accepted a different gift, something more tangible, even though it can make for an awkward conversation, it's recommended that you give the gift back, but show your gratitude by thanking them and inform the client why you must return the gift. You can even give them a nice thank you note to let them know how much you appreciated their kind gesture. Another question is, how can you keep a strong professional relationship with your clients and their families while still avoiding accepting or giving gifts? In a field where we work so closely with our clients and can make such a large impact on their lives, many times families and clients want to show their gratitude for that. And one way people know how to do that is by giving gifts. More often than not, these are harmless gestures of appreciation, but since they can create dual relationships and blur the lines between a working relationship and a real one, we must maintain that we cannot accept gifts. However, it doesn't mean that this has to harm your professional relationship with clients by denying gifts and offending them. You can keep the situation light, you can make a little joke out of it, and sometimes you can even provide them with a card that is available on the BACB's website. It has this little saying on it. It says, "Thanks for the gesture, you made my day. Though I don't want to offend you in any way, I cannot accept, in keeping with my ethical code, the best gift you gave was the kindness you showed." Another way to maintain a good relationship while not accepting gifts is by coming up with an alternative you both can do anytime they want to give gratitude, such as creating a compliment card you can exchange. You could even come up with something super silly like a high five or handshake of gratitude, such as, "I'm so happy I get to work with you," while giving them a handshake or a fist bump. Although these strategies can seem cheesy, they can help with continuously pairing with the client or their families to ensure that these ethical standards don't impair the professional relationship you have built with your clients. So that concludes our debate over gift giving and multiple relationships. Thanks for watching.